After his golden carrot adventure, Dodo the donkey decided he needed a well-deserved break, a change of scenery, you know. So he packed a tiny little bag, let's be honest, was mostly filled with carrot sand, set off to visit the big city. He'd heard so many stories about the towering buildings and bright lights, and he just had to see it for himself. Little did he know this trip would be more than just a vacation. It would be an adventure full of lessons he'd never forget. Dodo's very first challenge was, on the surface, quite simple. Get on the bus. But for a donkey who'd only ever seen hay carts and wheelbarrows, the bus was a marvel of modern engineering. Dodo had never seen so many seats all in one place before. His eyes lit up. He sat on one, then excitedly jumped to another, and then another, testing each one for comfort. He was having the time of his life until the bus driver, a very serious-looking man with a moustache, shouted over the intercom, "Hey, donkey, this is not musical chairs. Pick a seat and stay there." The whole bus erupted in laughter, and a slightly embarrassed Dodo finally settled into a window seat, ready for the real adventure to begin. When Dodo finally arrived in the city, his eyes grew as wide as dinner plates. He stood on the sidewalk, his little donkey jaw dropped. So many lights, so many people. So much noise. It was a whirlwind of sounds and sights. Horns were honking, people were chattering, and music seemed to be coming from everywhere. Overwhelmed but excited, Dodo spotted a particularly green patch of grass across the street and decided to go for it. Forgetting everything his mum ever told him, he trotted right into the road without looking both ways. Honk, honk. A bright yellow taxi screeched to a halt just inches from his tail. The driver leaned out the window. "Watch where you're going," Buddy Dodo's heart hammered in his chest. That was a close one. He quickly learned his first, and perhaps most important, city lesson. Always, always follow the traffic rules. Look left, look right, and cross only when the little walking person on the sign is green. All that excitement made Dodo incredibly hungry. He spotted a place with fancy cursive letters on the sign and a doorman in a top hat. This must be where they keep the good food, he thought. He confidently trotted inside the fancy restaurant. A waiter in a crisp white shirt glided over. "Good evening, sir. What would you like?" Dodo, puffing out his chest, proudly declared, "Carrots, please, but I only eat the golden ones." The entire restaurant, filled with people in elegant clothes, suddenly went silent, and then burst into laughter. The waiter, trying to hide a smile, disappeared into the kitchen. A few minutes later, the chef himself came out, holding a plate. On it was a slice of cake, orange and sweet. "For you, sir," the chef said. Carrot cake. Dodo, confused but hungry, ate it in one single giant bite. He blinked, a tear rolling down his fuzzy cheek. "Why," he cried dramatically, "is dessert sweeter than my future?" Lost, Confused, and still a little sad about the carrot cake, Dodo wandered through the city streets. He was starting to think this whole trip was a big mistake. Just then, he heard a cooing voice from above. "You look a little lost, friend." Dodo looked up and saw a clever-looking pigeon perched on a lamppost. "I'm Pico," the pigeon said, "and you, my long-eared friend, are learning the hard way." Pico flew down and landed on Dodo's shoulder. The city isn't about getting what you want or showing off, Donkey. It's about learning new things, respecting the rules, and most importantly, meeting new friends. With that, Pico offered to be Dodo's personal tour guide. First, he took Dodo to a huge library. It was so quiet. Dodo tried to read a book about agriculture, but fell asleep on a pile of encyclopedias. Next, they went to a park where Dodo, forgetting his manners, joyfully chased an ice cream cart, convinced it was a magical chariot. Finally, they visited a grand museum. Dodo stared at a majestic stone statue of a horse and whispered to Pico, "Wow, he must be famous. He doesn't move a muscle." Pico just chuckled and explained what a statue was. After a long, whirlwind day of adventures and misunderstandings, Dodo was tired but also wiser. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows between the tall buildings, he knew it was time to go home. He said goodbye to his new friend Pico, promising to write back in his quiet, peaceful village. Dodo was greeted by all his friends who were eager to hear about his trip. He told them everything. "The city is amazing," he explained, "but it's not just about bright lights and fancy food. You have to be careful, you have to be respectful, and you have to be ready to learn something new every minute." His friends howled with laughter at his funny stories, especially the part about the carrot cake and his dramatic reaction. Dodo smiled, realizing the best part of the adventure was sharing it. And so, Dodo the donkey learned that traveling isn't just about seeing new places or having fun, though there's plenty of that. It's a chance to grow, to discover things about the world and about yourself, and to bring a little bit of wisdom and a lot of funny stories back home with you. Every journey, big or small, changes you for the better. Thanks so much for joining Dodo on his city adventure. If you enjoyed his story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun tales. We'll see you in the next video.